Namaskar, a very good morning, good evening to all of you all over the world who have joined for this program. Respected Sri Lopen Longten Gyatso, who is joining from Arunachal Pradesh and going to speak to all of you. Professor Sanjay Dhande, Director of IIT Kanpur, earlier, and now after retirement, he is actively involved in education and other activities. Ambassador Vishal Sharma, who is a permanent ambassador to the United Nations living in Paris. He is also going to speak to all of you. And most importantly, Ganesh Bagriya ji, Raju Lasthana ji, Professor Charan ji, Dr. Upasana Mishra ji, Deans Dr. Mahapatra and Dhaumya Bhatt from this particular institute who are organizing this event, that is SRM IST campus in NCR region. Professor Amita Dev, I would like to talk about slightly history of how we started off with this Universal Human Values program. We already have Ganesh Bagriya ji and Raju Lasthana ji in this particular program right now, but many others who have probably not joined now or maybe joining later in some of the sessions. I remember Professor Arora, who is National Coordinator for this Universal Human Values program, which we started in ICHVHE. And then Kumar Sambhav, Umesh Jadhav, and many other experts who have given their time and energy. I'm sure that the number has been growing. I don't know the present number, but last count was nearly 100 people who were volunteering to take this Universal Human Values course to the entire country. We started with AICT, but also UGC joined the bandwagon, and also all other colleges and universities are very excited about this program for a variety of reasons. When we started this program, based on the historical work that has been already done by Professor Gaur in IIT Delhi or Dr. Arora in Punjab Technical University and many others in UP Technical University, IIT Kanpur, IIT Hyderabad, BHU, and many other places. Some total of that was brought in the form of very robust universal human values courses, starting with the induction program, where many times students come from different backgrounds, different languages, different cultures, different economic status. And therefore, in order to get them all on board, we had a necessity of making this program which is valuable to each and every one of them, and create a sort of collaborative movement, ownership about the institution, and therefore started off with 3-week student induction program, which had a training for faculty members to conduct this program for about a week's duration. And when the pandemic broke out, instead of stopping or closing, we continued this in an online mode. And today we are able to hold an international convention of this sort on an online mode. People from different parts of the world are able to join. I was reflecting even afterwards, having participated in all of this and then met many people in different parts of the world when we go for meetings in different universities globally. When we talk about universal human values, many times they say, what are these values? They keep asking a question. What are these universal human values? Then I was trying to even Google out and find out what are those possible values which can be considered as universal, which are not subject to state, subject to culture, language, country, geography, etc. And they are trust. We all want trust with each other. We want loyalty of people who work with us. We want respect from each other. If I want to get respect, I need to give respect. This is mutual. In the same way, we all aspire for getting love and affection from our dear and near ones. And also, many times when we are in some situation, we need to be empathetic. Empathy is also very important one, compassion. And then we want to help each other. And when we are in need, we seek help. And when we find someone is in need, we also provide help. Honesty and integrity are very important values. Everyone values them in education system, in business, in governance, in government, everywhere. We want honesty and integrity. We talk about justice. Whenever something is wrong on someone, we always anticipate that justice is done. That's why the courts of law exist, and they all try to understand the actual case and then try to give justice to people. And we all are living on this planet which has limited resources. So everyone talks about protecting the environment, ecology. And therefore, the word used is coexistence. We live with nature. So nature is very, very important because it is the one which has provided us with oxygen, that is air, water, the soil which gives rise to various crops and therefore food. And then finally, we are all today talking about net zero carbon, sustainability, sustainable development goals. So if you look at each one of them, these are universal. No one can deny that this is not important. And therefore, in various constitutions or in law, we talk about rights, but very few people talk about duties and the responsibilities. And therefore, when we talk about universal human values, we have to certainly earn our rights. Rights are important. But our contribution to humanity in terms of our responsibility, our duties is also equally important. And therefore, if you look at the entire set of universal human values, if you count them, there may be 15 to 20 in number. Maybe someone will give importance to something less and something more, but nevertheless, all of these are great values that everyone aspires that they should be there. But the next question, when we ask each and every one of them, you all are expecting all of this. Are you doing all of this? And the answer is slightly in the negative. They say, we know that this is the truth. This is what is required to be done, but I'm not following it myself. And therefore, instead of forcing any of these values which I mentioned, Universal Human Values Program, which was started in AICTE for student induction, and subsequently a large number of courses were developed, which led to also a minor in Universal Human Values. So course 1, course 2, course 3, like this. And all of this together can earn a degree in Universal Human Values. And today, if you go to industry, talk about aspirations of the people, most of the students who come for higher education, their aspiration is to get a job, good salary, good life. And that is fine, as long as you do all of this with ethics and integrity, there is no problem in earning money also. But how do you make use of it? Are you putting it to use in the right manner? Are you empathetic to people who need that factor of empathy? This is an important part which we cannot probably straight away teach, but in terms of the teachers or the gurus who practice all of these values, I'm sure children will learn from them. And you don't have to force anything on anyone. So the whole process of this learning in this course of human values is about self-introspection, reflection. And as I said, all these values, everyone agrees, but are you following when they say no? How do you go inch by inch to start following it? It's a practice, not very easy. It is like penance. So each time when you get into this issue, you have to introspect whether I'm doing the right thing. And therefore, one of the famous statements of Mahatma Gandhi comes to mind all the time, that if you have to take a decision about any one particular individual or a person, you step in the shoes of that person. And then if that decision is taken, what did you feel? What do you feel? If you feel happy about it, that means that's the right decision. If you feel that if it was subjected to me, I'm not going to be happy about it, and therefore that decision has to be probably changed and then modified, and then get into that right shoes have to be worn by us. And therefore, defining all of this is very, very difficult. So what we start with is start with the relationships. Relationships between our colleagues, friends, teachers, relationship in the family, between yourself, your father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, your other siblings, maybe some of the closer relatives with whom, how do you behave, act? That is number one. Number two, after family, we go out into the society, and therefore our behavior in the society, our colony, our building or where we are living? Are we empathetic to each other? Are we helping each other in when in need? I think this kind of development, when we start moving upwards from self, that is my say hum, from me to myself to we, and gradually development will start taking place, and that we gets enlarged. The scope of that will be from family to, as I said, immediate society, neighborhood to the entire village, entire district, entire nation, and the globe or the planet as such together. And therefore, when the talk about sustainability comes in, sustainable development goals come in, we often remember one very famous statement, which many people are now following, is that of the last man. Last man means the remotest man in the remotest village, maybe in the tribal place or in difficult area in mountains. Are we taking care of that particular person when we are taking any decision in terms of governance, in terms of our values, in terms of providing that education? And that is what is most important. So the aspiration is there for people living in cities, no doubt, but also for the people who are living in the remote areas. So how are we going to take care? And therefore, when we are discussing all these issues, fortunately, thankfully, we had a very important national education policy in India, which was launched in 2020 July. We have completed 5 years of it. Many of these things which we are talking about, providing holistic, all-round development of students, student-centric education, is all rooted in that particular policy. And national education policy talks about multidisciplinarity. That means how each of the disciplines touch each other. There is an overlap between different disciplines of knowledge, and therefore, how do we connect the dots? Also, values which are ancient Indian civilizational values. We start with Guru Shishya Parampara. We had Gurukula system. We have the first of the universities of the world, Takshila Nalanda, which started here in India. Subsequently, there were many universities in the modern times. But if you go back in history, all the students of the world who sought knowledge, who sought wisdom, they were required to come to Bharat. That was the only civilizational education system which existed. And therefore, how in our new national education policy, rootedness is brought about. Those all values which we are talking about as universal human values were sum and substance of the Gurukula system, holistic education, multidisciplinary education, and then promoting students through their talent, through their whatever qualities they have imbibed from the birth. Each one, Swami Vivekananda used to say that each one of us is born with some talent, some traits. How do teachers identify them and support and create finishing touches to that? That means honing of those skills are very, very important. And that is why in the national education policy, there is a big reform which was stated to be brought in of bringing all regulatory bodies under one umbrella. And that bill has been placed in the parliament only recently on December 15th by the Honorable Education Minister, Sri Dharmendra Pradhan. And the name itself is very exciting, Viksit Bharat Shiksha Adhisthan. That means if we have to make our India, the country which we have sought independence in 1947, to be fully developed country, Viksit Bharat, by 2047, Viksit Bharat can come only through education. Because all other sectors, whether it is transportation, whether it is finance, whether it is industry, whether it is startups, all of them directly or indirectly get their benefit or get their sustenance or get their inspiration from the educational institution. What we learn here, we take it to the immediate next job or next profession that we follow. And therefore, educational institutes are the rock bed on which we create all of these values. And before we started this conversation, Ganesh Bagriya ji mentioned that seeds were sown about 7-8 years ago. More than of human values. And this sapling is slowly growing into a big banyan tree. And if you have to touch base, all the 50 3,000 colleges, all the 1,200 universities, first in India. And then our goal should not be restricted to only, we want the survival of the planet, the happiness in the whole world. And therefore, we need to go beyond our borders, go to all other countries of the world. I'm sure wherever we have talked about this, people have appreciated. And therefore, there is a big responsibility on us who believe in the principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu to take this magnitude should be increased. We need both scale and speed. Speed and scale are very important. The volunteer force, which is developed to the extent of 100 volunteers who are selflessly, without any expectation, are creating this environment in different colleges and universities. We want probably tenfold, hundredfold volunteers who will be able to take this forward. And many institutions are providing this support. They are all saying that we all believe in this. And one good thing is when we did a third-party evaluation in terms of finding out what is the outcome, impact that this program has created, there have been stunning results. Many of the speakers later will talk about what is the impact that has happened. A simple impact which I have found is some of the institutions who were having trouble in terms of student unrest. We all know about Gen Z. They are impatient. They want quick results. And in such institutions where there used to be dharna strikes and the teachers and the head of the institutions were targeted, the institutions where this policy of universal human values is followed, where teachers and students interact like friends, where principal and HRDs will treat their faculty as their colleagues and friends, I'm sure the change has happened, transformation has happened, and there is no rift. There is only collaboration and collaboration. They all think about the institute as their mother, and therefore, how do we take this forward? How any difficulty which comes, we will solve it together. This is the spirit which has been imbibed in such institutions. And therefore, even minor problems of water shortage, electricity failure, or some issue happening in the college or university, they own the problem. They find out innovative solutions to that and then give suggestion to the authorities that and authorities also respect the solution coming from the students. And it's not that I'm superior, I'm the professor, I'm the dean, I'm the HOD, I will dictate. It's not the thing. It's a collaborative understanding of each other. This is very, very important. That's why we have been talking about relationships here. And the relationship is supposed to be very, very cordial in such institutions, and that has brought rich dividends through the program. So when there are so many advantages, why should it not be spread? And I am only requesting all those who are attending this particular initiative today, this international conclave conference, to at least touch base 10 others. If you say that this is very good and you have to adopt it, maybe they may not like it. You are forcing on me because of my friendship, you are trying to put pressure on me. No, you tell that you attend 1 or 2 sessions. If you like, you continue. Otherwise, you can drop it out anytime. I am sure anyone who comes in this program on the first day, the first session, will not leave this session till the last session is over. And not alone that, I have seen in the past when we were in AICT, when we were asking the last day, some of their experiences, some of the teachers who had a 20 years experience, 30 years experience, were in literally tears. They said, I have been teaching, I have been doing all this. I have been a serious, sincere teacher, but some of the things which I was supposed to do, I did not know. I learned through this program. And here, after whatever remaining 10, 15 years I have, I'm going to contribute very effectively, efficiently in the direction of creating these values amongst our students. That is creating the next generation of citizens. And therefore, planet will become a better place to live in through the efforts of all of these people. So my compliments to Ganesh Bagriya ji, our Rajul Asthana ji who are here. Also, I respect all the other experts who are going to teach in this particular session. All the other speakers whose experiences are going to be shared. My naman namaste to all of them, and I'm sure this will become a big, grand movement in the direction of creating happiness on the planet. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.